Went past the hour as we continue here on Sports Talk live from Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers here on the west side, 675 Sunland Park Avenue. You can come down and join us and say hi to Lawrence. He is the area lead, and he handles all El Paso and Las Cruces stores, and he's with us here today for Hispanic Heritage Month. First off, Lawrence, great to have you on the show, and thanks for having us here with Sports Talk.
Well, first off, thank you guys for coming by. ESPN, we all know that El Paso sports are absolutely amazing. You guys are the voice of El Paso, and we love it. You guys really know how to talk a game through the radio.
We appreciate that. Now, for people wondering, let me hear a little bit about you. Did you grow up in the area, or did you come to El Paso when the stores opened up around here?
No, absolutely not. I'm born and raised in El Paso, Texas. I grew up in the Lower Valley, moved on up to America's High School. I played some football myself.
Nice.
But yeah, El Paso's been a part of my life for 37 years now.
Good for you. Well, I'll tell you what, Raising Cane's now is a part of a lot of El Paso's lives because we've seen it just since we've been here. And not only that, just since the store first opened, you've made such a big name for yourself, I think, in the community. And now joining forces for Hispanic Heritage Month starting in a couple of hours. It's a really big deal, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. What's great about Raising Cane's is that we understand the community, and we know we're Hispanics ourselves, and we just want to go big and just celebrate and thank the community for everything that they do. Like you had mentioned, as soon as we opened our doors 10 years ago, El Paso just opened their arms, and they love chicken fingers, and we love that they love chicken fingers.
For Hispanic Heritage Month, Lawrence, what do people need to expect for tonight? It's going to be a great event. First 100 people who dine in starting at 6 o'clock will get a free box combo for their next visit, and then they'll get a swag bag that I think a lot of people are really excited about.
Oh, man, if you guys know anything about Raising Cane's, our swag is outrageous. It's absolutely amazing. And you're right about our box combo. Our first 100 customers that come on by, they will be getting a free box combo for their next visit. But we have a lot of festivities coming on. We got some great people coming by. We have the El Paso Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We have the El Paso Library here. We have Cinto de Oro here, WWE champion.
That's right.
Right, so NXT Tag Team champion. So he's going to be bringing a lot of energy. I'm super excited about it.
Man, Cinta is one of the nicest guys you're going to meet in this community or anywhere, and the fact that you've got him coming for Hispanic Heritage Month for the time he's going to be here at Raising Cane's just makes it even that much better.
You know what, Steven? I'm super nervous to meet him. I've seen him on TV. My son's seen him on TV, and I'm just like, man, I'm a little nervous about it.
Well, be careful about one thing, Lawrence.
His arms?
No, that's true, but people will ask, he'll give you the chop challenge. And what people will do is they want to take the chop. And one at our radio station, his name is Nico. He works on our KLQ Morning Show with Buzz Adams. Took a chop. Nico took the chop last week. There's still a mark by his chest where he took that chop from Cinta.
And thank you so much for giving me a heads up because I would have been in the moment. And if you would have offered me a chop, I would have probably taken it. But now that you've giving me that information, I'm going to have to pass on that.
You know, we've also heard that El Paso local artist Patrick Gabaldon will be out here tonight to celebrate National Hispanic Heritage Month. One of the other things I wanted to just ask you, Lawrence, you guys are doing a lot of great fundraisers with a lot of different organizations here in the community. Can you tell us a little bit about some of these fundraisers and just when they're going to be happening out here at the 675 Sunland location?
Yeah, so we have 3 fundraising happening on different dates. Our first one's going to be September 30th from 12 to 8 p.m. It's going to be benefiting the Rotary Club, so that's super cool. And then moving forward, October 7th, we'll be benefiting the public library. We do a real good job of partnering up with them. It's one of our foundational pillars at Raising Cane's to support education. So the public library is perfect for that. And then October 14th, we have the orchestra tocando. So, again, another thing, we love our kids to make sure that they're staying passionate about their hobbies and making sure that we can help them however we can.
Lawrence with us right now. He's the area lead for Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers here in El Paso and Las Cruces. Now, you said something crazy earlier that I didn't even realize. 10 years already. That is remarkable how time flies. How many stores do we have now in both El Paso and Las Cruces?
We are blessed to have 5 locations. We need more, but 5 right now, we're killing it. And then we have 1 location in Las Cruces, and you're absolutely right. 10 whole years just flew by.
Do you ever hear stories from people in other cities when Cane's first opens up? Because the most attention I'll get on anything that I post for Cane's is anybody out of town. and they're like, I want Cane's. I drive X miles to go get Cane's.
Oh, no, I hear it all the time. I absolutely hear it all the time. Our Las Cruces location used to get people that live in Albuquerque. Now we have locations out in Albuquerque, so we still get that. But here in just this community, El Paso, I get word about the Northeast, Horizon City. And, guys, I promise you that we're working on it. We need it. But, yeah, thank you so much, El Paso, for that.
It's crazy. And I'll tell you something else. You've got here what we have the big truck in the back, though. It's One Love on the top for Cane's. That's the mobile vehicle. What's going on in there during Hispanic Heritage Month tonight?
So what's super cool is that this is the first time that the Raising Cane's food truck is here in town, and we're here for some big things. We're here to celebrate Hispanic heritage, and not only that, we're going to be a part of the Way Out West Festival.
Yep.
And that's going to kill it. We're going to be serving food to our VIPs out there. We're going to be listening to some country music, enjoying some margaritas out there. So the food truck is a big deal. It brings a lot of customers here, but we learned real quick that we need to be mobile. We need to be on our feet.
So this food truck's going to be serving food here tonight too, as well, right?
No, absolutely not tonight. Okay. We have our restaurant to do that, but at the Wow Fest, we definitely will be serving food to all our VIP.
So this is basically here to prepare for the Way Out West Fest that's going to be coming out tomorrow.
We're going to actually be handing out some candy bags out of that food truck. We want our customers to take some pictures of that. Again, they're the reason why we're able to create food trucks like that, because we know that we have to be anywhere at any time because our customers need us.
Okay, so here's a real $1 million question, Lawrence. Box combo, how are you having it?
Oh, my God. So there's several ways, and I've been watching TikTok and stuff. I know that our customers get real creative, but I'm a classy man. I like the box combo just the way it is. I love our coleslaw. I love our toast, our chicken fingers when they're perfectly cooked. I love it. I absolutely do love it. And our crinkle cut fries, I can't get enough of those. I love to dip those in cane sauce. Yeah. No ketchup for me, extra cane sauce. So a box combo, extra cane sauce, and our freshly squeezed lemonade.
Wait a minute. Do you mean to tell me that there's a secret menu, or there's something that's like it's like you said it, TikTok, and what are people doing?
Oh my, they're so creative. So first off, and I'm giving away some secrets here, but they love to order our toast with butter on both sides, and then they love to slit the toast in the middle, stuff a fry or two, chicken finger, and then throw some cane sauce. It's almost like a Raising Cane's hot dog sort of style.
That sounds incredible.
It is incredible. It's absolutely amazing. It does take some time to do, but it's worth it at the end.
So you're telling me that as this continues to grow, more and more people are coming up with their own little creative ideas of what they can do here at Raising Cane's.
Oh, yeah, and our customers are so creative. It blows my mind the things that they can do. We sell 5 premier items, but with those 5 premier items, there's hundreds of combinations that they're putting to use, so it's absolutely amazing.
And I guess that's the next thing, is that there's no plans to add menu items, is it? When you do things like this and it's done so well, why change?
Steven, you're absolutely right, dude. You're absolutely right. We just came from Cancun. Todd Graves had just reassured us that, guys, we're going to stick to our focus plan. We're going to make sure we do it the best. We don't want to get it too complicated. We know what our customers want, and we want to sell it to its perfection. So you're absolutely right. We're going to stick to our 5 items, and we're going to cook it to the best of our ability.
Last question for you, Lawrence, before I let you go. I see this Go Cowboys on the cup we're drinking right now. Cowboys were victorious last night against the Giants. They've got the Steelers a week from Sunday night. It's going to be the Sunday night game in Pittsburgh. You tell me, can Dallas win the division this year?
Oh, my God. Well, here's the thing. I love Dak Prescott. I know we got him for a long contract. CeeDee Lamb just tore it up yesterday. I know we got a couple of injuries with Micah Parsons, Lawrence. But, guys, Dallas Cowboys, we're going to go. We're gonna beat Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers. We got Justin Fields. I know he's shivering in his cleats.
I like that.
So, let's go Cowboys.
Fantastic. Lawrence,
good way to end it.
Absolutely right. Great to meet you. Great to have you on the show. Thanks again for having us here. And have fun tonight at Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yes, sir. You too. Thank you.
You got it. He's the area lead. He's Lawrence. He's joining us here as we continue on Sports Talk and hit the bottom of the hour right now. 505-6009, our telephone number. 505-6009 as we continue. Nicely done. UTEP, I said before the break, we got to give everybody the latest on what's going on with the Miners. Well, let's talk about it, because last night 2 different stories broke. One was that the MAC was suddenly involved with the Mountain West. When I say the MAC, not necessarily the conference, but the Mountain West was interested in Northern Illinois and Toledo as football-only schools for the Mountain West. And then within like an hour of that report comes a story that Texas State is also in the Mountain West conversation as a possible all-sports member. Now, as of this afternoon, Northern Illinois said today it has not received a formal offer to consider a change in its conference, but appreciates, quote, the interest in our strong brand, end quote. So that was that. Toledo also has no comment on anything. We've also heard nothing about Texas State with the Mountain West, but I will say this, Adrian, this is really interesting to me. According to a source I had a chance to speak with today, Texas State has been engaged in conversations with the Pac. And I wonder, because the Pac-12 is talking to Texas State, and last night suddenly we find out that the Mountain West is interested, is Texas State kind of the shiny new toy because football is suddenly relevant. They have money. They have a good location in San Marcos right by Austin. And now all of a sudden, because football is doing well, they've become more relevant in conversation as a potential university that could be moving.
You know, it's so funny about this. I mean, a decade ago, right, 2014, we were talking about Texas State as probably the doormat of college football. Yeah. Just kind of like how we currently talk about, schools like UTEP and schools like New Mexico State. It wasn't until really the last 3 years under G.J. Kinney that Texas State has been able to skyrocket to where they're at right now. And maybe even just before that, they were trying to be competitive and they were committing themselves to being more competitive than they had been in the past. But still, I mean, Steve, I look at what UTEP has to offer right now. It's a fan base that it's dying to go into a different conference aside from Conference USA. They also have, resources that maybe could get better, facilities that maybe are on par with some of the current Mountain West teams right now as it stands. So I just feel like, the fan reaction, the fan vitriol, maybe was a little too early based on what you're telling me right there from your source. And at the same time, I said this yesterday, I'll say it again, anybody who has any kind of certainty when it comes to conference realignment or Mountain West, expansion and what they're trying to do for their realignment, don't call it a certainty unless it's actually been reported that the Mountain West is done, closed for business, everybody's signed, sealed, and delivered. Like all these rumors, all of this, what is it really for? Is it for leverage? Is it because they actually want it? Or do they want a different conference? You never know.
Nobody knows right now. Nobody knows. But I'll say this too. The same source that told me that Texas State had been engaged in conversations with the Pac, which is why the Mountain West got involved, also said that he still believes when it's all said and done and the smoke clears, UTEP will be invited into the Mountain West. So despite everything that happened yesterday with the football-only schools in Texas State, he still thinks, like many of the national media, that UTEP is just too logical to not happen. And even though football is still down and has not been back to where everybody wants it to be, that all the other factors would be enough, especially geography, fan base, potential, things like that, revenue in spent would lead to believe that the Mountain West very well could be looking to invite UTEP on board.
One of the interesting things, so today was Nevada Sportsnet wrote an article about just, possible Mountain West expansion targets and stuff like that. It's interesting. I think local media is covering this in a very interesting way, just kind of laying out all the options. They wrote today the Miners have 2 winning seasons in the last 18 years, both of them being 7-8 in football. So when it comes to the football side of things, I don't blame the Mountain West for going after schools like Northern Illinois and Toledo, which have actually won at the college football level. I mean, now they're not, being the top team out of the group of 5 by any means, but at the same time, they're at least competitive and they've put together successful seasons here and there compared to the likes of UTEP, when you're talking about realignment and conference expansion.
And if you don't believe football has everything to do with schools being pursued, you're fooling yourself. Football has everything to do. In fact, if the Miners were off to a good start this year with Scotty Walden, they'd be the school that everybody's talking to right now. But think about it. When your football program hasn't been relevant in so long, you're at an immediate disadvantage despite all the other signs that point to something making logical sense.
Right. I mean, you could even think financial terms are out the window when you have hype and momentum with a good football team. Take G.J. Kinney away from Texas State, and what do they have? Take him away tomorrow and pry him over to a Power 4 school out there. Who are they going to replace him with? Who's going to inject as much life to that program and as much success in winning to that program than he has? So I would look at it that way too. I mean, I know it's early in the Walden era, and I know that they're 0-4 here to start off this first season, but still, you're right. I mean, if they're 1-3, or if at least they're 2-2 and had some hype around them, maybe we're having a different conversation.
I will say this, from the people I've spoken to that are in the know, they have said that they think it's much more likely that it's the Mountain West for UTEP, if any conference, as opposed to the PAC. They just do not see the PAC as a likely destination or landing spot for UTEP, that it just doesn't fit the profile. And quite frankly, there are other programs like a Texas State that have football heading in the right direction, and the PAC would be more inclined to go for them than the shiny new toy, than a program that has not been able to really take advantage, and that's UTEP. So, I kind of tend to agree. We've talked about that before, Adrian, that I know a lot of fans want the PAC, but that seems more of like a pipe dream than the Mountain West right now.
So this is coming in from Callaway 007. If UTEP is serious about upgrading the Sun Bowl and retaining top coaches and personnel, they need to aggressively pursue a move out of Conference USA and into a more competitive conference like the Mountain West or Pac-12. But, Steve, I'm curious to know from your thoughts, do you feel like the brass at the top from UTEP is pursuing, or are they in like a wait-and-see mode right now to see how this all really shakes out?
I feel like the brass right now is playing everything very, very close to the vest. And what I mean by that is if there are conversations, they're making sure they don't leak out. They don't want anything to really possibly say that they're talking to people. They would much rather just play it under the table. So that way, if it doesn't happen, they don't have to go back and have that awkward conversation again with Conference USA. I do believe that, Dr. Heather Wilson, with her background and everything she brings to the table, is savvy enough to make sure that if UTEP is interested, she goes about it the right way and is not going to have one of these situations to where the Miners after the fact say, well, we were waiting for a call that never happened. I feel opposite on that. I do feel like they would be proactive, but proactive to the point where they're not going to issue a press release saying that they believe they should be leaving Conference USA and going someplace else like San Diego State did a few years ago. And, that was a bad spot for them. And they had to come crawling back to the Mountain West. And luckily for them, the Mountain West took them back until they finally decided to leave this time around for the PAC.
Yeah, I just feel like, going to now in 2024, it felt like UTEP fan base, at least on Twitter and X, they were in shambles over the last 24 hours. And to those fans, I would just say this. Look, chill out. Just relax. We haven't heard certainty on either side. There's on one side, yes, there are other schools who might be pursued in this, but why would the Mountain West just stop at 8, right, Steve? Mm-hmm. Why would they just suddenly say, 8's the magic number? Wouldn't you want to have some more stability and go for 10? Maybe. I don't know what that number looks like as far as the right number, but I feel like stability is what they should search for.
Especially since UNLV last night, even after they signed the letter to stay in the conference, issued a big statement saying that they ultimately see themselves joining a power conference. So they've already put it out there. They're taking the money from the Mountain West to stick around, but as soon as they get that opportunity to jump to a power league, if it happens, they're gone. So you need to assume that could eventually happen. As crazy as this sounds, and I know we need to get to a break, which we'll take next, the most stable league of the three right now is Conference USA, because it might not be the sexiest league, but That league was in danger a few years ago. They boosted it to a level where they're not going to be in danger again of falling apart. It's not the sexy league like the Mountain West. It's definitely not the league like the Pac-12. But in terms of stability amongst the three, right now, as of today, it's not even close. Conference USA is the most stable league in that conversation.
Yeah, I would agree with the catch that Liberty holds a lot of weight in this conversation. If tomorrow Liberty says we see ourselves as a Pac-4 or a Power 4 school as well, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they have the money to do it. They have the winning and the success to do it. If they actually run the table again and really go 22-0 or whatever, 21-0 across 2 seasons in regular season football, why would they stay in Conference USA? I would try to bolt out of there as fast as I could if I was Liberty. And then what? Then what's next for Conference USA in terms of success? You're going to have Western Kentucky, La Tech, and Middle Tennessee lead the way for your league?
Just remember how hard it was for Liberty to find a conference.
That's right.
And Conference USA was the only league to take them when they were already winning and dominating and had a huge budget and were just that school that, was basically winning championships without big affiliation. They were independent in football, and they were still doing well. So it's not going to be as easy for them to maybe get out as you would think, because people didn't want them earlier. Who's to say now everybody's going to want to jump on the Liberty bandwagon and take them this time?
Despite the whole controversy that happened with the NIL situation at UNLV, they are much more desirable school, university, everything, etc., whatever you want to say, etc., because of their market. They're in Vegas versus Lynchburg, Virginia. Man,
1,000%.
I mean, the money talks when it comes to Liberty, no doubt. Money talks with this group right there. But how far can that actually get you? Plus, Liberty carries way more baggage, in my opinion, than UNLV.
We're live at Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers here right now with you. It's 675 Sunland Park Avenue. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back more in a moment as we continue on a Friday. 600 ESPN El Paso. Back here on Sports Talk, 9 in front of 5 as we continue right now with Gator Richard as we are live at Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, getting ready for Hispanic Heritage Month starting from 6 to 8 tonight here at 675 Sunland Park Avenue. Richard, what's going on, man?
Go Gators.
Go Gators.
Hey, I had a question for you. Are you keeping track of the 50-50 ball that was hit into the stands?
Yes.
What's your take on that?
Well, it's the most expensive ball right now that could be ever in baseball history, which is wild, until potentially a 60-60 ball starts to take place out at Coors Field this weekend.
Well, what do you think? A 50-50 ball something. I mean, no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
What would you think of a 60-60 ball?
Well, I just said it could be the potential of a 60-60 ball. Although Shohei's got work to do. He'd have to hit 7 home runs in 3 games to make that happen, which means that's averaging more than 2 home runs a game. Not to say it can't happen, but it's highly unlikely. As far as the 50-50 ball goes, that's pretty cool.
Well, it's a 50-50 ball, granted, but I mean, let's say he falls short of 60 during the regular season, but during postseason he hits a couple more to get to that 60 threshold.
No, but that doesn't count, dude. That doesn't. You don't get to count.
It's a season. It's in the season. Okay.
No,
well, all right.
No. That is wrong.
All right. So how many stolen bases does Ohtani have right now? Like 55, 54?
No, he's at least 55, maybe 56. He might even have 56 steals so far. Let me see. He currently has 56 stolen bases.
Okay. So, and how many home runs? 50, 54?
53. Yeah.
Okay, so let's say he hits 55. Okay, 2 more. So that last one of the last game of the regular season, he hits 55.
Yeah.
You don't think that 55 ball is going to be worth more than the 50-50 ball?
No, the 50-50 ball is that was the record-breaking ball. That's the one that kind of put him in a league of his own. So, no, I think the 55 ball would be pretty special and would still go for a lot of money, but not like the 50-50 ball. No.
Okay, so the 18-year-old kid who says he initially caught it,
yeah.
You want to bet that Dipstick didn't bring his glove to the game?
Well, maybe
I mean, how did he catch it? With his bare hands?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? That's why you bring your glove with you when you go to a ball game.
Good PSA. I agree with you. If you go to a game and you're sitting in the outfield, don't be an idiot. Take a glove. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So when everybody's sticking their pinkies out there to try to catch a ball, and then at the last second, you do the like you're going for a block or something with your glove, and you're catching that home run ball. See what I mean?
I do. I'm following, baby. I'm following what you're saying exactly. Yeah.
And then there's no question about who owns it because you caught it. See?
That's right.
It's in your web.
Yeah. Bring the baseball glove. Come on.
Bring your glove.
Right. Yep.
So,
yeah.
So I got to take on this. I got to take on this. I got to take on your conference thing.
I'd love to save it till Monday.
Well, you guys are swinging and missing like usual.
You finished good, dude. Leave it alone.
All right.
I'm with you on this. We're on the same page. Have a good weekend. Enjoy. Go Gators. Go get a win.
All right, man.
Go get a win. All right. We'll come back. Cowboys update. We're live. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, 675 Sunland Park Avenue. Hanging with you till 6 o'clock, and then it's Football Friday night right here, 600 ESPN El Paso.
From the 600 ESPN El Paso River Oaks Properties Schoolyard Sports Studio, here's Steve Kaplowitz and Adrian Broadus.
Oh, you hear the celebration? We got Hispanic Heritage Month going on live out here at Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, 675 Sunland Park Avenue on the west side of town. In fact, big celebration. There's a lot of people here right now. Don't forget, come on down between 6 and 8 o'clock. For the first 100 dine-in customers to purchase any combo meal, you're going to receive a free swag box and box combo card for your next visit. And that swag bag is awesome. I saw the swag bag has got some great stuff in there, whether it's a sticker sheet, a keychain, stuff you're only going to be able to get here today between 6 and 8 o'clock at Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers on Sunland Park Avenue on the west side.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the biggest Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers fans on the planet, Steve. That's just the facts. This is my spot. I live right around this area, so I'm coming here all the time. I'm coming here at odd hours, too, and we're getting a chance to celebrate National Hispanic Heritage Month with such a great group of people out here. The Hispanic Chamber is here. There's also the El Paso Public Library who's out here as well. The Rotary Club here of El Paso is in attendance, and we've got some media partners, media friends as well in attendance.
And Cinta de Oro is going to be here soon. I'm excited about that. The media is great, too. When you see Telemundo, Televisa, it's always nice when our TV partners come and be a part of this.
Yeah, and some Spanish-speaking radio stations, too, like Exa. So
that's right.
Big shout-out to them.
Hey, speaking of shout-outs, let's give a shout-out to the Foss. Steve Foster, he's our weekly chat talking Cowboys football after Dallas was able to survive yesterday against the New York Giants. It wasn't pretty, but they'll take a 20-15 win in giving the Cowboys their second win of the season. The Giants fall to 1-3. Foss, welcome back. It's great to have you back on the show. And like I talked about earlier, I mean, at the end of the day, a win's a win. It was ugly. It came at a cost, a big cost, with Micah Parsons now going to be missing the next couple of weeks. But I know Cowboy fans will still take the win against the rival Giants on the road.
Yeah, they will, again. But it's a win against a losing record team. And you have to beat – because remember, last season I even showed you the graphic of being 5-0 against teams under 500 and being 0-3 against teams over 500. You got to beat the good teams. It's a start that a bad team was beaten. But if you look at it, 15 points in the first half and then 3-3 for both teams in the second. Nothing pretty about that win, but yes, a win.
Foss, you just mentioned the stat right there. As far as Cowboys' success against winning teams versus losing team, are the Cowboys, and I asked you this question last year, are they the best team of all the worst? Like, are they the good-bad team right now as far as the NFL goes?
I mean, unfortunately, it would lean and trend more that than we're a contender team that is trending up. Yeah, I mean, that's what the records would show. And being a fan and being real about what the standings and the records of the team show are two different things. And so, unfortunately, I would say, Adrian, it's more true than not.
Man, oh man. Well, give me your takeaways. Give me the things you liked about last night's game, and then the things that you didn't like.
I like the fact that there were a lot of receivers in the game that Dak used. I like that they showed signs and glimpses of we can run the ball. I like that the ball was distributed to the running backs and taking some pressure off. I like that it seemed like CD and Dak got back on track between the two of each other. I like Overshown as a defender. I like that they're seeming to want to play more team defense. And, okay, that's about it.
Things you did not like about last night's game.
I think you can't let a team get on you quickly and have to respond. I'd like to see, it's not how you start, it is how you finish. But can the Cowboys start a little bit better out on a game? It's like, why do we need to wait to settle in to play a football game? I think Dallas would surprise some people and probably have a better outcome if they did start better. It's good to know that they can finish. Too many penalties on the offensive line, and maybe you keep a running back in if you're not going to use them to run as pass blocking. And then the defense has to be a little bit better in man coverage.
Speaking of running backs, I am shocked that you did not mention, in terms of things you didn't like, the fact that, again, the Dallas Cowboys cannot run the football. Rico Dowdle had 11 carries for 46 yards to lead the team. I mean, is that the best we can get to ask for as far as Dallas and the running game, 40, 50 yards a game?
No, you can't. You have to creep to that 100-yard mark. That's a mark. And you know what's interesting? That, over the decades and having the new, from Air Coryell when we were kids and Bill Walsh's, West Coast offense to even now with the spread and the, 5 wide and all this, that the rushing mark of 100 yards has stayed as such as the standard of at least excellence over the time of 100 years of football. And if you can't get to that, you don't usually fare well because the game of football wasn't built on the pass. It was built on the run. And you're absolutely correct. I would want to see from a Dallas team more counter tray that was used by the old Washington Redskins at the time, now Commanders. Get the defense going one way. It's a lot easier to block them if they're off a point of attack that you're going to come back to.
Foss, when you look at this team right now, what happened yesterday, one of the big takeaways, one of the big storylines is obviously the injuries that happened to the defensive side of the ball. Micah Parsons with the high ankle strain. It's also Lawrence with a foot injury, I believe. But your thoughts on that, that pass rush, that D-line for the Cowboys right there that looks to be a little bit more injured going into that Sunday night thriller against the Pittsburgh Steelers next week?
Well, all football players know at some point they're going to have to play with pain, through pain. Back home in El Paso, I played my junior year on a broken foot, 3 games. It sucked. It was awful. There were a lot of treatment hours that went into it. But I wanted to play for Eastwood, and I wanted to make an impact each Friday night. So they're getting paid a heck of a lot more than I was in 1982. So suck it up. That's your job. You don't have to do it. It's funny. It's like when good-looking women say, I have all these guys look at me. Well, then be fat and ugly. Then nobody will look at you. If you don't want the responsibility of a pro football player that makes 6, 7 figures, 8 figures, then go get a desk job behind over at Dell, IBM. It comes with the territory.
Why would you throw the fat and ugly line about women on the air during this segment? I mean, why would you even want to go there? That is so uncalled for, and to be honest with you, that is so just.
Let me flip it. Let me flip it. If you're a guy and you're like, hey man, all these girls come up to me, and you work out, then eat the DQ blizzards and become 280 pounds and don't work out, and then nobody's going to notice you on the weekend. I can flip the analogy, but again, all that comes with the territory, right? Comes with the territory. You can be a police officer, law enforcement.
Not everybody looks like you, Foss. That's just what it comes down to.
No, it's not about me. This is not about me. This is not about. It's an analogy that you can visualize. It was a visual. It was a visual.
Okay. All right. Let me ask you this. Let's take this a step further. Do you think the Cowboys were lucky to win last night?
No, I think they're the better team. No, I think they're the better team. But, they went on the road, and the Giants were, it's a division rival, and they wanted to beat the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys come with a target on their back, and people believe they can beat them. I don't think that necessarily all the teams are better, but they believe. That's where it comes from. And y'all know this. It's the belief of what you believe you can and can't do, no matter what it is.
This just came in via text from Raul, who's listening to the interview live on the show. Why is the Foss fat-shaming people? Uncalled for.
Yeah, fat people are taking some strays here today.
Hey,
this is not a good PR hit for you. This is a disaster.
Let me just say this, man. I'll give you two examples, okay? And it is what it is. When I was at Eastwood Heights Elementary off of Janway, hey, I was wearing the Sears Tough Skins, and I was getting no play, okay?
Nobody cares about 1977.
Listen, but I'm giving you the analogy. I can tell on myself as well. It was a general analogy, okay? So, hey, in junior high, I had no game. 7th and 8th grade, 0 women, 0 girls, 0 interest, okay? So let me use me. I tell you what, it came, Foss shaming. Hey, whatever. It comes with it. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't your time. You hadn't gained the skills to be able to master whatever goes on. There's the point.
Were you hoping to land some girlfriends in 7th and 8th grade, and you didn't get it, and that's kind of the whole basis of how this whole thing is going on? Is that really what this is all about? You're in junior high school, and you came out empty?
I was shut out in junior high, but that doesn't play to the fact of what's going on today. But it's true.
Maybe hanging out at Album Park in those days when you were going out there, looking for love. Maybe you were just looking for love in all the wrong places, Foss.
Oh no, I was good in high school. I'm just telling you, middle school. I didn't live. We had left. My mom got remarried, and we moved away from El Paso last year or so of elementary school and middle school, junior high, and I came back. When I was back, I was good. I had figured it out.
Give me your thoughts on Eagles-Bucks, Commanders-Cardinals, and the games going on around the NFC East later this week.
Man, Eagles-Bucks and Commanders-Cardinals are going to be where quarterbacks are going to have to showcase. They're going to have to showcase what's going on. Meaning that the quarterback play and of course the defense, they're going to have to step up in both of those games, because I think all 4 of those teams have quality quarterbacks that can win in the playoffs.
Foss, when it comes to this division, now we got a chance to see what this division actually entails for the NFC East. The Giants are an absolute mess. The Cowboys are kind of where they were last year, where, they're going to be a good regular season team, but how serious do you take them in the postseason? The Washington Commanders coming onto the scene nicely last Monday with their big win against the Bengals, and then the Eagles taking maybe a step down or step back from last year. Give me your thoughts on just the division as a whole, and maybe talk more about Washington and Philly, knowing that that's kind of ahead for the Cowboys.
Well, I like what Daniels has done in Washington. I think it's Jalen Hurts and that crew, although he's missing weapons to throw to. But Saquon seems to be picking up the slack. But again, Dallas has a chance. It's just, are they going to click and trend up? Or are they going to say, like you said, stay where they were last year and just kind of glide through? it doesn't matter to me if Dallas wins the division or not, as long as they make it to the playoffs. It's just, what does Dallas do once they get in the playoffs? And if they don't get the home game, maybe they play better on the road. Maybe it's better to be a wild card. Whatever that psychology is, it's got to benefit the Cowboys, because I know the Eagles, even though I think, and everyone agreed that there's maybe a couple questionable calls and management from the head coach and some things that were done. But I think Dan Quinn has probably as much incentive as anybody else from the Washington perspective to beat Dallas, and I think he's going to have his team ready to play each time.
All right, once again, you can follow the Foss on Twitter. That is at Foss Sports, Foss_Sports on Twitter, at Foss_Sports on Twitter. He also hosts Laying Down the Law every Sunday on ESPN Radio out there in San Antonio. Did you get proof for your credentials to Houston this weekend?
Not this weekend, but next weekend we could have some opportunity, and I heard back from them. They said as long as we can individually send the request, that we will get in at some point in NRG.
Happy to hear that. All right.
Awesome.
We'll keep our fingers crossed. Always fun. Foss, thanks for the time, and we'll look forward to having you back on the show with us again next week.
And know that it was for demonstrative purposes only and visual. Nobody's shaming anybody.
Okay. Yeah, we don't want you to take a big PR hit to your street cred. That would be an awful situation, especially when you come back home and have to deal with the wrath of people from that particular radio conversation. So, yes, very important that you send that out.
No intention to call out anybody particular, merely for demonstrative purposes only.
Thank you. All right. He's Steve Foster, and he's joining us weekly on the program here on Sports Talk. We'll take a timeout, come back after Charlie won. More live at Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, 675 Sunland Park Avenue on the west side, as we continue with Hispanic Heritage Month and 600 ESPN El Paso. You got to come on down and join us out here at Raising Cane's, 675 Sunland Park Avenue. The UTEP minor, I think the cheerleaders are here. So they're here. We've got the dance team, actually. It's the UTEP dance team. They're here right now, along with a ton of people around the outside of the Raising Cane's restaurant. So come down and join us. Be a part of the show, and you'll have an opportunity to celebrate in style with Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers and Hispanic Heritage Month, and a lot going on out here as we roll through the next 35 minutes. We got Football Friday night coming up, top of our 6 o'clock hour. It's going to be Bo Bagby. After last night's West Side Bowl, we still have big games, including that Jeff Del Valle matchup coming up here a little bit later.
Yeah, that's going to be the homecoming matchup right there. And, hey, the first time that anybody's going to get a chance to see Jake Fetty, the sensational junior quarterback from Del Valle, after his fresh commitment to Arizona State. He committed over the weekend last week after their huge win we thought it was going to be game of the year last week. Del Valle destroying Canutillo in a key District 1-5A Division II matchup. That's going to make Del Valle the de facto district title winners this year. And in my opinion, if everything goes smooth for the Conquistadores, they will be on their way to an undefeated season in the regular season, and they should get to postseason play with that top overall seed, the way the path is kind of laid out for them. Now, again, Steve, we're talking September 27th. We're not talking October 27th or November 5th here. So there's a lot of season left. But everything that I've seen so far, I've watched Del Valle 3 times already this season. They are the best team in town. And it's not even close. I think they've done a lot to solidify that. My favorite game tonight is definitely that Isleta-Austin matchup. Should be great. Hanks-Andrus could get good because that one could end up being the last playoff spot in that district that I was just mentioning, 1-5A Division II. So a lot on the line for all these different teams.
I've heard rumors that Fetty's NIL figure is going to be massive before he even steps foot on a college campus. Is that accurate right now?
Yeah, it's very accurate. It's going to be, six figures and maybe even higher when it's all said and done. He's so impressive, man, and he earned and deserves every penny that he gets coming his way from name, image, likeness deals. He's such a great player, and when it comes to the quarterback position in El Paso, no one does it better than him this year. Last year, no one did it better than him as a sophomore. Next year, as a senior, he's still going to be the best quarterback in town. Now he just knows where he's going. And, for those people who say, well, why commit so early? Why would you do this this early into your career? He's only a junior. He still has all his senior season. Plus, he has the rest of this season left with him. Steve, we've seen local players slip commitments before. L.J. Martin was somebody who got a chance to, do something at Texas Tech, and then obviously had a chance to do something with, Stanford and stuff like that as well. So really cool stuff for Jake Fetty. Let's see if he ends up going to Arizona State when it's all said and done, or if he ends up committing elsewhere here down the line.
He keeps playing well. The dollars are going to keep piling up, and man, oh man, I can't wait to see what happens with him when it's all said and done. I'm excited about that. I'm also excited about our next guest, who's going to be joining us here at our broadcast table at Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, 675 Sunland Park Drive on the west side. If you can move that microphone a little bit closer to your mouth, we've got with us right now, Adrian. I'm excited about this. He is the Dunk Doctor. That's right. He's Dr. Nathan Hansen. He's an orthodontist in El Paso, and he is also a professional dunker. This is the first. We've interviewed everybody on this show over the years, but I can honestly say this is the first time we've ever had an El Pasoan who's not only a doctor, but after his day job is over, he is a professional dunker.
What a life. What a life that you would live right there. I mean, I would love to see this in action at some point. This sounds amazing.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks for bringing me out. Thanks for having me here. I'm really excited to tell my story and meet y'all and tell a little bit about acrobatic dunking and being here in El Paso.
Well, first off, you've been in El Paso since the beginning of the year. I think that's important. And like I said, I'm looking at you right now. You came from work, so you are still dressed in your scrubs like you would be if you were seeing patients right now for your day job as an orthodontist.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Just got off of work actually and came straight here to do this interview.
Incredible. For you, tell me this: when did the desire, the interest in trying to dunk a basketball, when did it start for you?
Yeah, so my story is a little interesting. I went to undergrad at Brigham Young University in Utah, and that's when I tried out to be the mascot for BYU, Cosmo the Cougar. He's pretty famous on social media. You guys should check him out. So I was the mascot for BYU for 3 years, and when I went off to dental school, I was the mascot there in dental school as well. And during that time, that's when I really, gained that aspiration or developed those attributes of being able to dunk the ball, perform, and things like that in dental school. And then after that, I was working in Arizona for a couple years and wanted to keep up this ability of performance and dunking and being in the sports world. And I met up with the Phoenix Suns and was with the Phoenix Suns for 3 years.
All right, take me back to BYU for a second. By the way, as you probably realize, you were at BYU a long time after they split from the WAC. But just to give you historical reference, El Pasoans hate BYU. They hate BYU with a passion because when you talk about rivalries in football and basketball going back to the 70s, that was it. I don't know if BYU ever hated El Paso as much as UTEP hated them, but it was a very, very big rivalry because they were all in the WAC together a long, long time ago, long before you were there. Then they split apart. They joined the Mountain West, and now look where BYU is. They're in the Big 12.
Yeah, BYU's in the Big 12, and actually they're doing really, really well this year so far. Just beat K-State, I was watching that game. I was pretty excited for that. But, yeah, BYU, when I was there, I didn't know about the rivalry. I was actually born here in El Paso, and I didn't know about this rivalry when I was at BYU, but that's kind of interesting history to learn about as I'm here and hopefully being able to bring what I can do here at El Paso.
So you came back to where you were born and where you first started. When you became Cosmo and you were the mascot at BYU, was the mascot already dunking basketballs at that point, or had that not started yet?
A little bit of both. So when I started at BYU, Cosmo, the big thing that was happening at BYU is the Jazz dunk team, the Utah Jazz, would come and perform at the BYU basketball games, and Cosmo would kind of just do 1 or 2 dunks during the Jazz shows. And when I was there, me and a couple of the teammates, we decided, hey, we can do this on our own. Let's create our own team. Let's do our own thing. And then we kind of started the BYU dunk team when I was there, and Cosmo got really good at that. And then we had the whole BYU team there, which eventually has grown to now it's performed at many elementary schools. There's a whole club and performs all around the city, all those cities in Utah.
We know how tough it is to dunk a basketball off a trampoline if you're just a regular professional dunker. What is it like when you are wearing a mascot costume trying to dunk a basketball with what we all say is limited sight, limited vision?
Yeah, no, that's something most people don't think about. When you are in a mascot suit, you really don't have the vision that you have just dunking naturally. So you can't see up and down. You can only see straight below, straight out. So you really have to get that air and, flipping awareness, spatial awareness to be able to know how to dunk that ball, because you really just don't have that vision.
What are rivalries or what are games that stand out to you when you think back to your, dunking career in college at that time?
So the biggest thing that I did at BYU, I actually don't even remember who we were playing, but we created this stunt and it's actually on YouTube, where I was actually thrown up and we did a 3-man stack. So
you're the guy on the table?
No, not the table. This was a little bit before when social media started growing. This is just on YouTube, but so there was a 3-man stack of holding us on our shoulders, and we were all the way out to the 3-point line. They launched me up, and I was standing up on the second person, and then we kind of did a leaning tower and slowly went down and dunked the ball. So it was a 3-man dunk, and that was a pretty cool invention that we did during that time. So another one was being the basket toss and tossing all the way to the from the 3-point line and dunking from the 3-point line. That was a pretty cool event there.
Man, oh man! So now, when you go from BYU and you go to dental school, you also had the opportunity to start a dunk team there as well, right?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I kind of revamped the whole mascot program at Creighton University. There was a mascot that kind of just walked around, danced a little bit here and there, wasn't really involved. And when I got there, I brought in all the flipping, the break dance, the dunking. We had to order the trampolines, get permission and insurances, that whole thing. So I brought that to Creighton University, yeah.
Dr. Nathan Hansen with us right now. He's the dunking doctor, and he's in El Paso. He's working now as an orthodontist. That's his day job. But, yep, you could still catch him as a professional dunker. Now, since you've been in El Paso since the beginning of the season, I know you've been busy with work. Have you had the opportunity yet to continue dunking and really enjoying your hobby?
Yes and no. So since I've been here in El Paso, I have had the opportunity to go back and perform with the Phoenix Suns. So I've gone back actually twice to Phoenix. I performed at a couple schools, and then another day was performing at the Phoenix Suns games against the Celtics, actually. So that was really cool. Here in El Paso, trying to start my own team and things like that, I have all my mats. I bought the mats, the tramps, and I've been training actually on my own. And then I've been actually trying to find open gyms and things like that to really create this team. I've tried to talk to UTEP a little bit to try to get something going, but there's a little bit of story behind that we're trying to figure out. So possibly like you've done at Creighton and like you've done at BYU, for you, the ultimate goal would be to start a UTEP dunk team with the mascots here for minor games. Yes, that's 100% my ultimate goal. I think it would really uplift the game, the environment, the hype here in El Paso, bring some excitement to the games and the performance level here at UTEP. That's the ultimate goal. And then also to use that as well, kind of like we did at BYU, and go out and perform at maybe some of the high school games and community events and things like that.
Man, Adrian, I love the idea.
Yeah.
We're always looking at fan engagement at UTEP and what could actually get fans excited. If UTEP had their own dunk team whose job it was to perform during select games throughout the season, I think fans would go crazy for that.
Yeah, I think this is a huge thing because fans are always looking for in-game entertainment. What's going to distract them outside of, the game itself or things like that? Or what are other things? Families come out to the games. Sometimes non-basketball fans come out to the games. So when they're able to see these different things in the games, it just makes them really excited. How do you get fired up by the crescendo of the crowd when they start to get pumped up by you all?
Yeah, and that's really what it's all about. In the end, it's helping people have a good time, see the excitement, and there's really some special moments when it's an intense game and things like that, and people are just jumping up and down, and then you bring out a dunk team and we throw all these flips and dunks and get the crowd pumped up as well during the game. It just creates that awesome environment I think everybody loves, and that's why we go to games, and that's why we support UTEP and go to these games to really feel that and be part of that experience, not just on TV.
Dr. Nathan Hansen joining us here on Sports Talk as we continue. In terms of practice and preparation, tell me what goes into being a professional dunker. The amount of time spent not just learning properly how to dunk, but controlling your body off a trampoline, knowing how to gauge jumps and distance and how that goes. I can imagine it's got to be hours upon hours of training just to even get yourself ready for something like that, and also make sure you don't kill yourself trying to dunk a basketball.
Yeah, no, it's actually very, very dynamic because it's interesting. You can have a gymnastics background where you have the flipping and you're very strict and things like that, but that doesn't work in the performance world. You also have to have the ball handling skills, the vision, the performance, the style, the swag, whatever you want to call it, to be able to perform during these shows. So you have to be able to combine kind of two different sports. And then a little bit of my background was a little bit of that parkour and flipping background, and so you're actually learning how to fall, not to roll ankles, not land on balls, not to hit the rim, judging distances. And then another really big aspect of it is you really have to have amazing team chemistry. So there's a lot of training, not just by yourself and your own personal athleticism and flipping, but you have to be able to time the passes and the flips so perfectly to hit those dunks. You have to be able to throw the ball at a certain height. You have to know how high your teammate's going to jump to be able to grab that ball and dunk it with certain style. You have to know the pacing to follow at a certain time. If you follow too close, then you're missing the pass and you won't be able to hit the dunk. So it actually is very intricate when you're performing and putting on a show. Doc,
could we see potentially high school dunk teams in El Paso? Could you look to start this maybe at the high school level, or are bodies not developed enough yet and really college is the time to start professional dunkers? What do you think?
Oh, man. I think that's an amazing opportunity, and it's something that can totally be created. I know actually, so outside of the United States, in Europe and with Euroball, there's actually kids that train for this. There's camps and they train for dunking. So the body's completely developed. They can totally do this. I mean, you see people dunking in high school games and going crazy. So they can definitely jump off the trampoline and dunk and do all those types of things. I think it would just be establishing protocols in the high schools, waivers, injuries, things like that, making sure that's okay. But in every sport, there's risk and reward. Same with football, basketball, whatever it is. There's always risk of injury. So it can totally be created if there's someone leading and training and teaching. It could be a big part of the cheer team, spirit squad, whatever you want to call it. You could totally have people doing this.
Who is your favorite dunker of all time, and who do you feel like is your favorite dunker right now? I'm putting you on the spot.
Shoot. If we're talking about acrobatic dunking, no one would know the favorite dunker. I mean, of course, I'm going to say Cosmo the Cougar. I'm going to rep him. That I don't think there's any mascot in the NCAA that can dunk like that mascot. And then, man,
how about the greatest dunker, like not using a trampoline, just somebody that to you, I mean, considering they can dunk a ball. Like, I'll always say this, to me, growing up, Dominique Wilkins was an amazing dunker when he was with the Atlanta Hawks. He could do windmills. Before that, you had Dr. J, of course, Michael Jordan. So many great dunkers in basketball over the years.
Oh, shoot. I mean, the biggest thing I can say from that would be, I know it's kind of a cop-out, but the biggest style and the biggest things or inspiration that I've had is just seeing pictures of Michael Jordan and seeing him. So I would just go there, but I wouldn't know a very specialized, awesome dunker that that I can name off the top of my head, as in a lot of what I do with basketball is more in the performance realm and then watching style points. So, but the Michael Jordan, I would say, it brings a lot of inspiration with that.
So you're working in El Paso right now. You've got also a clinic that's getting started here soon in the next month or two on the west side of town. Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah, thanks for asking. So we are doing a startup practice here in the Cimarron Market. Here on the west side, I'm doing a complete startup practice that's going to be very beautiful, very nice. That's really going to change the overall healthcare system in orthodontics and how people are being seen and treated. Kind of very specialized, hyper-specialized in aesthetics. And it's something that really doesn't exist here in El Paso right now that I'm really excited to provide and share with people.
When you talk about aesthetics, specifically, what are you talking about for people?
So aesthetics, I think the big thing with orthodontics is you can have straight teeth but not a beautiful smile. And what people need to understand is they need to find a good doctor that actually knows how to create a beautiful smile. And my philosophy, what I like to go by, is I actually try to create natural veneers. A lot of people think, oh, the only way to get a beautiful smile is I have to spend all this money, put these veneers on my teeth, but in reality, you can shape, develop, design, contour the teeth to create beautiful smiles. And that's a big thing that's, I think, lacking here in El Paso that I'm bringing from my mentors that I trained with over in Arizona.
How do people learn more about you? And, in fact, from not just orthodontics like we've been talking about, but let's say somebody's listening, they want to try to book you for a dunking exhibition for their game or their teams. What do they need to do?
Of course. So the biggest thing, messaging me on Instagram would be the biggest thing. dr.nathan.hansen, so dr.nathan.hansen on Instagram would be the easiest way to get a hold of me, DM me. You can look up me on my website, hansen-orthodontics.com, if you're interested in orthodontics. But yeah, just flipping on Instagram, I post all my stuff, all my tricks, and everything like that, and you can get in touch with me to schedule something.
Could we be seeing you dunk at a game soon?
Yes, 100%. We are going to be dunking. I will bring this to El Paso. It's going to happen. And rumor is on the street that we'll be able to do something at the Sun Bowl, possibly here. So we're in the works for that. I've been talking to my team already from the Suns, and that they're already ready to come to El Paso to perform at the Sun Bowl.
Meaning the basketball tournament, the Sun Bowl basketball tournament in December. Love that. All right. I hope that comes to fruition. I'm excited about it. It's great to have you on the show. And please come back and see us and give us an update on how things are going. I want this UTEP dunk team to be a reality. I really do.
I really do too. I really hope we can make it happen. UTEP, if you're listening right now, you know who I am. We've been in touch. Let's make this happen. I have everything ready for you, so we just got to pull the trigger, and we'll be dunking.
Love it. Dr. Hansen, thanks for stopping by and seeing us.
All right, thank you.
He's Dr. Nathan Hansen, folks. He's the dunk doctor, and he joins us here on Sports Talk. We'll come back, wrap it up, get you ready to go for Football Friday night, 6 o'clock. That's coming in 15 minutes here on 600 ESPN El Paso. Final countdown here on Sports Talk. Thank you to Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, 675 Sunland Park Avenue. It's been a busy show, a wild show. And maybe we've saved the best for last right now, Adrian.
Yeah, he's my favorite artist of all time. It's Patrick Gabaldon, who's with us right now here at Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, 675 Sunland Park. People are lining up. People are having some good times out here. Patrick, it's good to see you, man.
Yeah,
Welcome back.
Thanks. Good to see you both. Glad to be here.
Patrick, your art is terrific. I've owned your socks. I've worn your socks over the years. I love those. And I love the fact that you're still so busy painting. That's what it's all about. And just being here today at Hispanic Heritage Month. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I love it, man. Thanks for supporting and wearing the socks. I love to hear it. I love to see it even better. I'm just happy to be here, and Raising Cane's doing a cool event for Hispanic Heritage Month, and I get to be a small part of it, so I'm very excited. And who doesn't love chicken tendies, man?
That's the best. By the way, you are one busy individual, aren't you?
Yeah, it kind of never stops. Painting, creating for me is a compulsion, so, man, I'm always hustling.
Is there a particular type of art you enjoy painting the most? I've seen the scenes for El Paso and different scenes, sports at times. What do you like? What do you like painting the most?
Yeah, I love painting and drawing a lot of the sports illustrations, mostly because when I'm doing it, it's because I'm into it, right? So Women's World Cup happening, Locomotive, Chihuahua season. It's when I'm drawing that, it's because I'm knee deep in the season, enjoying the sports, the activities, the stadium, all that. So those are always super fun.
When it comes to Locomotive FC soccer, I know it's a down year, but you are somebody who contributes with the Locomotive FC for their Noche de Locos night. Talk about just your partnership that you've had over the years and just the excitement of collabing with a group like that.
For sure. The front office has been great. Working with the Locos has been a dream come true. I'm a huge soccer fan, so when they were coming to town and it was just like blue USL team coming, I was pumped and excited. So once they got the logo, the team, the mascot, I mean, I've been all in, down year or up year. I'm going to be there. And it's cool that they support the community. They support local artists. They support creators. It's really cool. You know, they have that new jersey that just came out, kind of like Western style. Looks really cool. And then, of course, the game day posters. Those are always really fun to see. So I've been really excited and proud to be a small part of it. I mean, I love the team. I love going to the games. It's always a good time. Probably be there tomorrow for, Pups at the Pitch, see how many dogs are going wild in the middle of the game. We'll see. It should be fun. But, yeah, it's been great. I love it.
Patrick Gabaldon with us here on Sports Talk as we continue. You're a big sports fan. Which teams are you most passionate about?
For me, it's the Locomotive. I mean, I'm a huge Locomotive fan. That's first and foremost. I mean, I like watching soccer from overseas. I was watching AC Milan today during the day, just here and there. And that's always fun and cool. I mean, I love supporting and watching the U.S. players, whatever league they play in. So if it's like some Bournemouth game, I'll watch that if there's an American in it. But for me, it's Locomotive, number one, and UTEP, close to my heart. Unfortunately, down year this year for Los Locos, but hey, man, that's part of sports.
Where do you want to see UTEP end up when it's all said and done?
I want to see UTEP. I mean, I could dream I'd say bowl game. I mean, I'm just happy to see improvement and culture building and forward movement. I mean, I've been a fan for a long time, graduated in 2008. Me and my family have been going to games since I could walk. So, I mean, I've been through it all with UTEP, and I'm just glad that there's a new breath of fresh air in the team, and the city seems to be behind them, and so am I.
If people have never had the opportunity to see your art, what's the best way for them to check you out?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say find me on Instagram, Twitter, Gabaldon Art, Gabaldon Art. That's all my stuff. I mean, I love bright colors. I love El Paso, the culture. So hopefully when people see my work, hopefully it gives them a new, bright impression of the border and what we're doing here.
Anything new that we need to kind of keep in mind for the winter from you?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, we've got a little studio gallery downtown, and this winter we'll be making some more blankets. Those were a pretty big hit earlier in the year, and so we'll be opening up the gallery probably in the month of December every weekend just to have people come in, see the work, see new socks. We got some new socks coming in, new artwork all the time, merch, shirts, blankets, all sorts of stuff, just trying to add some color into everyone's lives.
Do you have commissioned artwork as well? If somebody asks you they want you to paint, will you be able to do some commission work?
Yeah, I do commission work all the time. One of my favorite commission things to do is pets. So I get a lot of pets. I just sent a couple pet portraits out to Midland recently to a client. And those are always super fun. Commission work is something I do if I have time. But the most fun one are the pets, man. Pets are great.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for wrapping us up here today. We appreciate you stopping by, and come back and see us, okay?
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
You got it. What a show it's been for us. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, thank you for having us out here. Lawrence, along with Jorge and the whole team, 675 Sunland Park Avenue. Don't forget, between now and 8 o'clock, the first 100 dine-in customers to purchase any combo meal will receive a free swag bag and box combo card for their next visit. Adrian, Football Friday night is coming up next.
Paul McKinnon, Bowman Bagley, they are on deck, and we've got a full slate of games tonight. It should be a lot of fun.
Thanks to Alberto Urueta, also Angel Munoz, and yes, high school football coming up next. For all of us here at Raising Cane's and Sports Talk, thanks so much for listening, and have a great night, everybody.
That's right. Football Friday night right here on 600 ESPN El Paso. I'm your host, Bo Bagley. Alongside the Sultan of Stats, Paul McKinnon, and producer Angel Munoz. What an exciting week we have here. High school football all over the desert Southwest. From the land of enchantment to all of West Texas, we'll have you covered for the next few hours and some big games tonight. And they started last night, once again, Thursday night in the Sun Bowl. The West Side Bowl, Coronado hosting Franklin, and the Cougars topped the T-Birds 16-13. That opened up 6A district play. Also, over at Bowie's Beatty Sumang Stadium, the Irvin Rockets improved to 2-2 on the young season, defeating the Bowie Bears 17-13. We'll have more on those matchups and games in just a little bit. Let's first go to our Ignitify local scoreboard. At 6 p.m., this game just underway. No score in Alpine. The Alpine Fighting Bucks looking for their first win, hosting the Anthony Wildcats. Then over at 6:30 p.m., we've got a fun one. The El Dorado Aztecs looking to improve to 5-0 as they host the Bel Air Highlanders over at the SAC. Joey Panisi with that preview in just a little bit. Then our 915 Tours game of the week, the Austin Panthers hosting the Isleta Indians. Isleta 2-0 in district, Austin 1-0. Jeremy Karanko will have a preview in just a little bit. Another exciting game over at Alan Sepkowitz Stadium. The Andrus Eagles hosting the Hanks Knights. Reporter Steve Escajeda there at Andrus Eagles Alan Sepkowitz Stadium. Once again, Andrus 1-1 in district, Hanks 1-0. It should be a really interesting game. See if those Hanks Knights are for real and can improve to 4-0. Other games, Burgess Mustangs hosting the Chapin Huskies. George Wahardo out there. That should be a fun one. We'll have more from George in the 7 o'clock hour. Also, Uncle Ray Adalto is back. El Paso High hosting the Canutillo Eagles. Can they bounce back from their tough loss to the Novi Conquistadors? That game over at R.R. Jones Stadium. First kickoff. 7 p.m. at R.R. Jones Stadium. Then the late game over at the SAC. Montwood hosting Eastlake. District opener between the Rams and the Falcons. Should be a fun one there. And the Eastwood Troopers, a 7:30 p.m. kickoff over at Trooper Stadium. Eastwood hosting Socorro. Now, surprising, this might be the most surprising stat line in Week 5. Both Socorro and Eastwood are 2-2, identical records. There you go. That should be an interesting game. Angel Torres on the call there. We'll hear from him a little bit later. And then the Parkland Matadors hosting the Americas Trailblazers. This is a fun one because this is a brand new district game. This is District 1-5A. All District 1-5A teams will play each other twice this season. This is opening up district play at Matador Stadium, Americas, taking on Parkland. Elsewhere in that same district, El Dorado once again hosting Bel Air, and Del Valle, Alberto Ureta. At this game on Conquest Stadium, Del Valle hosting Jefferson. Del Valle looking to improve to 4-0, 3-0 in district. Other action. Mountain View hosting Fabens, a very big game. Mountain View still looking for their first district victory. They're hosting the Fabens Wildcats, 7 p.m. kick. Then San Elizario hosting Clint tonight, Eagle Stadium. San Eli looking for their first victory of the season in district, while Clint looking to prove to 2-1. These two high schools only separated by less than a mile. Lots of rivalry and bragging rights in that one. Up in the land of enchantment, Oregon Mountain hosting Las Cruces High. That's right, a battle of Las Cruces, 7 p.m. at the Field of Dreams. Both teams 1-0 in district. Should be an interesting one there. Gadsden hosting Goddard over at Panther Stadium. Hobbs traveling to Alamogordo, and Roswell hosting Santa Teresa. Paul, bring in here real quick before we get to our 915 Tours game of the week. District play opening up. We're talking about districts. District 1-5A, everybody playing each other twice. Really interesting.
Yeah, without a doubt. I don't know that, in fact, I can say I've never seen teams that are going to play each other twice in one season in district play. You know, it's like the NFC East. This is more like NFL stuff. You know, teams in happenstance, okay, pre-district schedule, now it turns into by district, and you wind up playing the same team twice, but not by district. And I'm thinking those second matchups, remember, it'll take 3 weeks to play the schedule through once. They'll take a bye week and then come back and replay the schedule exactly the way that it's going to play itself out here in the first half. Only opposite venues. If you're at El Dorado, tonight, at El Dorado. Yeah, then you'll wind up at Bel Air the next time. But I'm interested to see those second games and see how chippy maybe those things get when you're playing the same team that you just played a month ago.
And what adjustments the coaches will make, too. Be very interesting there in District 1 5A. Speaking of interesting, how about our 915 Tours Game of the Week? The Austin Panthers hosting the Isleta Indians for a preview. Let's go out to Jeremy Karenko at R.E. McKee Stadium. Jeremy.
Isleta at Austin tonight from R.E. McKee Stadium. Isleta, guys, has been a nice surprise this year at 4-0 and 2-1 in District 1 4A, dropping from a season going from 5A. And Austin at 2-1 and 1-0 in District 1 4A, also dropping from that 5A rank from a year ago. The winner tonight keeps pace for first place in that district with Riverside, who is also at 2-0. The Rangers are idle this week. This is the first meeting between Isleta and Austin since 2011. Austin winning that matchup 20-7, and Isleta in that home and home in 2010-2011 winning the 2010 matchup 17-6. Tonight it's going to be the passing attack of the Indians against the rushing attack from Austin. That's plain and simple. And Isleta, led by ninth-year head coach Joe Martinez, is off to its best start since 2018 when they started 6-0. They're led by their air raid this season by sophomore quarterback Rodrigo Martinez. He's averaging 188 yards a game. He has a total of 750 yards in just 4 games, 40 out of 76 through the air, with 11 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. His receiving core entails a plethora of talented options, really. Leading the catching core, though, is Indians' quarterback from last year. Remember, Evan Martinez was the quarterback. He averages 58 yards receiving per game with 233 total yards and 3 touchdowns. Sophomore Armando Guzman leading the core in touchdown receptions with 3 and has 187 total yards. Senior Rudy Gomez and Alonzo Rodriguez both have 2 touchdowns and over 170 yards receiving combined. And Rodrigo Martinez, also a nice dual threat for the Indians. They can run it too, mainly pass, but they'll run 214 yards for him on 24 carries and 4 touchdowns. Isleta will also see rushing looks from junior running back Martin Castro, senior fullback Aiden Castañeda. And defensively, we'll keep an eye on senior outside linebacker Ricky Nareja. He has averaged 7.5 tackles per game, and he has 5 tackles for a loss this season. And that'll be a big factor for Isleta if they can stop the Austin rushing game. It'll really give them a nice shot to win this game. For the Austin Panthers, we know that they've been a rushing team for years. 8th-year head coach Eric Bachardo, that's his montage. And this year, all eyes have been on sophomore running back Sal Duarte. He's averaging 116 yards a game, 9 yards per carry, 347 total yards on 37 carries, and 2 touchdowns. The Panthers also look towards senior Oscar Flores. Nice goal line option for the Panthers. He scored 5 total touchdowns, 3 more actually than Duarte. He's averaging 61 yards a game with 108 total yards on 26 carries. Senior Anakin Torres leads the occasional passing game for Austin. In fact, Torres just 9 completions on 17 attempts and 96 total yards with the interception. But he can also run. Why not? The scheme really allows him to, and he's at 84 yards on 18 carries with a touchdown. Junior Andrew Andujo leading the receiving from Torres with 66 yards on 5 receptions. And for the Panthers defensively, standout junior Mike linebacker Jeremiah Parrish, averaging 11 tackles per game for Austin. Again, guys, the winner of this game gets that inside track at first place in District 1 4A. Isleta would be alone at 3-0 with the win, and Austin would tie Idle Riverside at 2-0. It's Isleta and Austin tonight in a massive 1 4A district game at R.E. McKee Stadium. Kickoff in just about 55 minutes, guys.
All right, Jeremy Karanka with that preview from R.E. McKee Stadium, Austin High, hosting the undefeated Isleta Indians. And that preview brought to you by 915 Tours, a division of Classic Elegant Coaches, is providing the best travel packages from El Paso to Dallas for Cowboy home games. Packages include round-trip travel, hotel stay in Dallas at the Omni, an ultimate fan experience tailgate, a meet and greet with a player, and of course, your ticket to watch the Cowboys. Follow them on Facebook or Instagram and learn more at 915 Tours. Paul, bringing here this game, how do you see this one played out? Can Isleta stay undefeated, or does Austin pull off the shocker?
Great question. I think these guys are pretty evenly matched. Austin, you're going to get the same thing from them. They want to come at you. They want to bludgeon you. You saw them do it to Mountain View a couple of weeks ago. They're coming off a bye week last week. But Sal Duarte averaging 116 yards. That sophomore, who, by the way, you went for a little over almost 800 yards last year as a freshman. That's a lot in case nobody pays attention. But came off a career best. I think it was 256 yards 2 weeks ago, a couple of touchdowns in the Mountain View win. They also have that big boy, Oscar Flores, that they bring over from the defensive side. He is a load. But they're going to come at you. If the Ysleta defensive front seven can't stop that, they're going to get hit with it and hit with it and hit with it all night. On the other side of Ysleta, they're versatile. First game, the brand-new quarterback, Rodrigo Martinez, came out, 5 touchdown passes. That's how they scored all of their points in the victory over Parkland, 34-26, I think that final was. But after that, now they're a running team, so they can do a little bit of both. Whatever you give them, that's what they're going to try and take. Anytime I see a team like Austin that's so good at running the football, maybe not so great at passing, I always think, well, how much practice, how many reps does their defense get against a good passing offense? If there's a great time for Ysleta to rip out the air game, I would think it would be tonight. If they make big plays up the field, this is going to be a Ysleta victory. If it turns into a slog, you got to like Austin.
And Ysleta, once again, 4-0 coming into this game. Austin 2-1. Now the big question, did Ysleta make our Football Friday Night Week 5 Top 10 poll? Well, let's go to it, put together all by all of the Football Friday Night reporters prior to Thursday's West Side Bowl over at the Sun Bowl. So let's start with number 10, Chapin Huskies. Chapin having a very good season, really put it to Andrus last week. So they come in at number 10. Once again, remember, Chapin defeated Andrus 54-8. Number 9, the Hanks Knights. Now, Hanks is also undefeated, 3-0, looked really good in offense. So Riverside, they're at number 8. I don't see an Ysleta in there. Talk about Riverside, Hanks, and Chapin playing well, but right now, Ysleta on the outside of the top 10.
Yeah, Ysleta looks, I would say that's an oversight. 4-0 to start the season. The good win over Parkland. Parkland doesn't have a victory yet, but they played a tough non-district, close losses to teams like Hobbs. So that's a legitimate win, and I think it was a pretty comfortable one. I think Ysleta is going to show what they've got tonight against a good. This may be a battle for the top spot in that 1-4A district. You got to throw Riverside in there as well. Remember, they just slid by Clint by a blocked field goal, 24-23, a couple of weeks ago. So, yeah, I think Ysleta is going to try and show tonight that they belong. If they get past Austin, I think it's a high time for them to be there. Riverside, Carlos Rojas, by the way, 371 yards on the ground.
Wow.
5 touchdowns last week.
Yes.
That's the most yardage I've ever seen from a quarterback in El Paso. Most recently, Angel Munoz, the speedy Munoz from Riverside, his best, 261 yards in a round of 32 game against Lake North, I think it was. 261 was his best, and Rojas really took advantage of the Irvin defense, as I said, for that 371 and the 5 scores. But all those teams close. I saw Hanks a couple of weeks ago. Really liked him. I liked the sophomore quarterback, Jordan Morales, and the Winsel kid that they recruited from basketball, making a lot of big plays, especially those first 2 weeks. I think it was the Rios kid last week, though, 3 touchdowns, well over 100 yards, I think 180 yards through the air. So they can really throw the football, and I think that's going to be key for them tonight as they they travel to the Andrus Eagles. Could be a battle, in the very least, for 4th place in that District 1-5A Division II.
Very much so. Remember last week, Hanks defeated Horizon 42-21, while Riverside, in that huge game by Rojas, 56-34 victors over the Irvin Rockets. So, okay, Chapin, number 10, Hanks, number 9, Riverside, 8. Eastlake comes in at 7, despite their 1-3 record. Eastlake has a lot of weapons on this team. We'll see if they can put it together against Montwood tonight at the SAC. Number 6, the Eastwood Troopers got a very, very big win 2 weeks ago over in Odessa, but last week fell to the El Dorado Aztecs by 1 point. So Eastwood at number 6, the Franklin Cougars at number 5, El Dorado having a really surprising season. They're at number 4. Remember, El Dorado right now is playing some great football. They're 4-0 with a big 55-54 victory over Eastwood last week at Trooper Stadium. Number 3, Canutillo, really tough loss to Delvi. Once again, 31-14, Delvi defeated Canutillo. Number 2, Coronado. Now, once again, this poll was taken before Thursday's West Side poll, so we had Coronado really high up there at number 2, while Delvi reigning a number 1 team basically almost all season. Delvi 3-0, looking to be 4-0, hosting Jefferson tonight. So your thoughts on the rest of the top 10?
Coronado being a little high, not the toughest non-district. Remember the Saturday game that they slapped together with the Burgess Mustangs. Burgess, 5A, bottom of that division school. So they went toe-to-toe with the Franklin Cougars last night. Terrific game, 16-13. Franklin squeezes by, end-zone interception at the end, to hold them off. So Coronado's a good team, but as I said, they haven't been tested. A lot of these other teams, we even mentioned somebody like a Parkland who has still yet to win a game. Their non-districts have been pretty tough, and you throw Eastwood in there, what they play, like the number 3 team in the entire nation, and 1 2-point conversion away from being 3-1 as they dropped, as you said, that 1 point or 2. Surprisingly good. Remember, El Dorado just 1-9 last year. Ryan Estrada back healthy. That means a lot. They're a good team, 4-0, and the odds-on favorites to win the 5A Division I, which just gets started tonight.
Yep, going to be a fun one once again. A huge matchup, Delvi number 1. Remember, Delvi hosting Jefferson. That's 7 p.m. kickoff over at Conquest Stadium. Those undefeated, let's go through the undefeated teams right now. The El Dorado Aztecs, that's a 6:30 p.m. kickoff. We're going to head out to the SAC 2 in just a moment, get a preview from Joey Panisi. El Dorado at 4-0. Other undefeated teams, the Isleta Indians that we just talked about, 4-0, looking to go to 5-0. The Hanks Knights at 3-0. Hanks is at Andrus. We'll have a preview from Steve Escajeda in just a little bit. Also, it's going to be a lot of fun to see what we can do. And Franklin got a big win last night over the Coronado T-Birds. So we're going to go to a Thursday night recap in just a little bit. Let's head out to El Dorado and the Student Activities Complex number 2 for a preview of El Dorado hosting Bel Air to open up district play. Joey Panisi, take it away.
Yeah, you can call it SAC 2. I'm calling it the Taj Mahal. This is the most beautiful football stadium I've ever seen. But anyway, I'm here as Coach Gary Recorder brings the Bel Air Highlanders into this venue to play the El Dorado Aztecs. Sadly, Bel Air comes in with a 0-4 record, namely because their offense is struggling big time. And it all begins at the quarterback spot, where the combined rating at the quarterback position is a 54.7. Happily for the Highlanders, I spoke to Coach Cenicero, says they're getting their starter, Angel Dominguez, back. He sat out 2 games with a severe hip pointer, but they told me he's 100% tonight, and hopefully for Bel Air, he can get some spark going, as they've been outscored, get this, 160-56 over their last 4 games. So they need to get something rolling. On the other end of the spectrum, head coach Frank Martinez's El Dorado Aztecs are off to a sparkling 4-0 record. And if the record isn't, add the epic 54-53 win over 6A powerhouse Eastwood. They're led by star running back. He's 5'11", 195 pounds, Ryan Estrada. After 4 games, he's rushed for an amazing 936 yards with 10 rushing touchdowns, and he also has caught 2 TDs. Complimenting Estrada is smooth as butter, they called him, Elijah Issa. Get this, he has a Tom Brady 158 QB rating. I find that hard to believe, but that's what it says. He's tossed 6 touchdowns, and he's averaging 149 yards per game. On paper, it should be all El Dorado, but as I've learned over my long career, never count out the Highlanders. So we've got 15 minutes till the game starts here at SAC 2, where El Dorado, for homecoming, will be hosting the Bel Air Highlanders.
All right, Joey Panisi, that pregame report from SAC 2, as he calls it, the Taj Mahal. El Dorado hosting Bel Air. Thank you so much, Joey. And Paul, your thoughts on this matchup? Gary Ricoder, really only 6 seniors on the Bel Air team. They found it hard, and they're going up against a juggernaut. Again, El Dorado, a great game last week against Eastwood.
Yeah, there's a real chance Bel Air doesn't win a game this year. Now that that they're in district, we'll see when they get a couple of shots at Parkland, who's yet to win a game, but probably has a little more talent. I saw Bel Air week 1. You're right. They're young and hurting. They get their quarterback back, the sophomore Anthony Dominguez. That's big. He's going to be a player. Is he there now? No, he's not. Still has issues. He's a kid, but you look at his attitude and you look at the way he plays and the way he never gives up. He's going to be a good one for them over these next 3 years. They have a slot receiver that I love. Manny Hernandez in the Eastlake game. This is a game that they were down. I believe it was 35-0 with like 5 minutes still to play in the first quarter. But every time Bel Air had the ball, and every time this Hernandez kid ran a route, he was open. Now, a lot of times the ball didn't get there. One time, remember, it was Saturday mornings, looking back into the eastern sun and dropped a deep corner route. But they could not cover this kid. He's a weapon. Hopefully he'll make some plays tonight. However he makes, I don't think it's going to be enough because they're a little outmanned. El Dorado's good. Ryan Estrada coming off of, what was it last week? 336, couple of touchdowns against the Eastwood Troopers. Yeah. 295 the week before. He's the number 1 rusher in the city, right around 930 yards. He'll probably be the first to go over 1,000, maybe on his first carry tonight. He's been popping them early these first 4 weeks of the season. I wouldn't be surprised if he did it again. He's a lot. But, oh, by the way, Joey hit on it. The Issa kid, the quarterback, he was in a quarterback battle last year. He was nothing to write home about. I've seen him this year. He's a lot stronger. He's a lot more confident. His running. So this is more like when Quincy Estrada was there. The Estrada boys, Ryan, the freshman running back, and Quincy, the running quarterback. And they had that little 1-2. Issa is part of that. And, oh, by the way, he can also deliver the balls at the end of the last 2 TDs. 50-yarder to Adrian Olivas. And then I think it was a 33-yarder to the Figueroa kid, which turned in with the extra point to be the winning points in that 55-54 win over Eastwood. So Ryan Estrada's back. He's terrific. These guys are good. 1-9 last year. Those days are long gone. As I said, I think these are the guys that are going to win the Division I 5A district.
Very much so. They are undefeated so far this season, 4-0. Can another team stay undefeated? How about those Hanks Knights? Hanks are coming into their matchup at Alan Sepkowitz Stadium against Andrus at 3-0. We're going to have a preview next with Steve Escajeda on Hanks at Andrus. You're listening to Football Friday Night right here on 600 ESPN El Paso. Welcome back to Football Friday Night, the Football Friday Night pregame show right here on 600 ESPN El Paso. One matchup underway, that's Anthony at Alpine. No score there in Alpine. Meanwhile, El Dorado hosting Bel Air. That kickoff in just a few minutes at SAC 2, kickoff at 6:30 p.m. Another big one tonight, the Andrus Eagles hosting the Hanks Knights. Hanks coming in 3-0 after a big 42-21 win over Horizon last week. Meanwhile, the Andrus Eagles fell to their Northeast rivals, Chapin, 54-8. Let's go to Steve Escajeda at Alan Sepkowitz Stadium in just a moment. We're going to get out to him for a preview. Paul, bring in here real quick as we talk about this game here. The Andrus Eagles really need to find something and need to find it tonight home.
Yeah, they're a bit in flux. You know, the sophomore quarterback, we talked about how the Urbina kid coming back was the quarterback as of, I think, about a quarter and a half of week 1. They already knew they were going to plug this Milton kid in, who's terrific. He's throwing for a couple of 100 yards every week, but everybody's young on this. The Andrus is an extremely young team. We thought they were going to, maybe from last year to this year older. I'm not sure. Guys are moving elsewhere. We saw a freshman catch 8 balls for 101 yards, I think, last week. So maybe Andrus is just getting younger. They're the Benjamin Button of El Paso High School football.
All right, let's go out to Steve Escajeda at Alan Sepkowitz Stadium for this preview. Steve, what do you got for us?
Thanks a lot, guys. And you're right. We're here in Northeast El Paso. Big District 1-5A Division II contest between the Hanks Knights and the Andrus Eagles. Hanks coming into this bowl game 1-0 in District, 3-0 as you said, undefeated overall. Andrus 1-1 in league play, and they are 1-3 on the season. Now, these two teams have not played each other since 2018, and in those 7 games that they have played, Andrus leads the series 6-1, and they've won all 6 games by double figures, except for the one back in 2012, where Hanks won in a thriller 36-35. And tonight we've got a battle between two very young teams, especially in the skill positions, and especially at quarterback. First of all, for the Hanks Knights, they come into this ball game, we said 3-0, averaging 41 points a ball game while giving up 26, 463 total yards per ball game, 282 through the air, 181, not bad on the ground. They're led by their sophomore quarterback, Jordan Morales, completing 60% of his passes on the season, 815 yards throwing it. That's an average of about 271 yards per ball game, 8 touchdowns on the season, 3 interceptions. Oh, and he's also rushed for 161 yards, which is second on the team. Speaking of leading the team on the ground, another sophomore, Dean Dusher, from that Dusher family we've heard of for years, right, Paul? 52 carries, 268 yards on the ground. That's about 90 yards per ball game. He has scored a couple of touchdowns. As far as catching the passes, well, Junior, one of the older guys, Junior, Deontay Wenzel, 16 catches, 357 yards. That's an average of about 119 yards a ball game. He's caught 4 touchdown passes this year. Another sophomore, Alex Robles, 14 catches, 282 yards. That's 94 yards a game, and he's also caught 3 touchdowns. As for the Andrus Eagles, again, they've been struggling a bit this year. Again, I'll tell you what, to put it in perspective, after 13 straight winning seasons from 2009 to 2022, again, Andrus had winning campaigns. We expected it every single year, but they've had losing seasons the last 2 years, and again, they're off to a 1-3 start. And one of the reasons is their offense only averaging 23 points a game while giving up 34, 330 total yards per ball game, 225 of those coming through the air. We said a very young team. Well, let's start with a sophomore quarterback, Jamari Milton, leading the Eagles, hitting on 61% of his passes, 874 yards, throwing it 218 per game, and he's thrown 8 touchdown passes against 3 picks. On the ground, they're led by Marcus Wilson, 157 yards on the season. He has scored a touchdown. Also chipping in there, sophomore Carmelo Jones, 156 yards on the season and also 1 touchdown. As far as catching the ball, they're led by Jared Gordon, 26 catches on the year, 284 yards. That's about 95 yards per contest. He has caught a couple of touchdown passes. And freshman Avant Clayton, 18 catches, 255 yards, and also 1 score. So, again, this should be a fun one. We're going to find out just how good Hanks really is tonight. Again, they're undefeated, 3-0. Let's see if they go 4-0 here in the Northeast. Big District 1-5A Division II ball game where we have the Hanks Knights taking on the Andrus Eagles.
All right, Steve Escajeda from Alan Sepkowitz Stadium, thank you very much. Going to be a fun one there. Andrus hosting Hanks. Something's got to give in this one. The winner of this one's going to have a huge leg up in the playoffs. Speaking of a huge leg up, let's go to last night's 6A game. Once again in 5A, Irvin defeated Bowie 17-13. Let's go to 6A, though. The Franklin Cougars got a huge defensive stand late in the game, an interception by Kyler McDavitt to seal the win, 16-13 in favor of the Franklin Cougars over the Coronado T-Birds. Paul.
Yeah, a little jump ball. Ben Wilson just threw it up and was hoping his sophomore receiver was going to be able to go get it. And the safety McDavid came across a pick at the 1-yard line. Coronado out of timeouts, minute left in the game. They were just able to, sneak it, mush it forward, push it a couple of times, and that was the game. The reason he might add faith in Frescas, though, Frescas is the one that got the scoring started. An 87-yard go route, left sidelines. He hauls it in. Coronado takes a 7-0 lead. Franklin got off to their typically sluggish start so far this year. Remember, they didn't score against Del Valle till midway through the third quarter. But the big power back, Ernie Powers, a 12-yard run about halfway through that quarter. Knots it up at 7. Interesting at the end. Coronado, a little counterattack, running out of time. Ben Wilson throws another one up. Jason Villagrana, the end zone interception, and the reason that's of note, his defensive back teammate and the beloved Manuel Lopez, who recently passed. Villagrana, normally number 3, wearing Lopez's number 22 jersey, makes the pick in the end zone. That keeps the score at 7-7 at the half, second half. Fumble in the end zone. Ben Wilson drops the shotgun snap in his own end zone after Franklin goes for it on 4th and goal from the 2. They don't make it, but a couple plays later, ball's on the ground. Wilson has to fall on it. That turns it into a 9-7 game after the free kick. Santiago Perez, the big play receiver, 34-yard seam route, knocks it up to 16-7. That with 4.5 minutes left in the third quarter. 9 catches, 116 yards on the night for Perez. What a weapon he is. Throw in kick returns and punt returns. It's the same. Ben Wilson got things close late. Little trickery, double fake handoff, kept 75 yards right down the left hash, got it to 16-13. And then Coronado with the ball late. It was all Ben Wilson. Wilson left, Wilson right, Wilson up the middle until they got around the 30-yard line. A field goal ties it. Remember, they missed an extra point that would have made it 16-14, so not too confident in the kicking game. With about a minute left, Wilson went bombs away. McDavid was there, and that's all she wrote for, I think it was the 9th straight season, the Franklin Cougars. Don't quote me, could be 7th. Take care of the Coronado Thunderbirds. That's a huge win in District 6A, which just about anybody, including still Coronado, could win.
Very much so. Once again, Franklin defeated Coronado 16-13. Next week, Franklin hosts Montwood while Coronado travels to Pebble Hills. All right, let's go out. We got an update from the SAC 2 from Joey Panisi. Let's go out to Joey with this update. El Dorado hosting Bel Air. Joey, what do you got for us?
Yes, from the the SAC 2, it only took El Dorado 9 seconds to score their first touchdown as Jadarius Sanders received the kickoff on the 8-yard line, took a stutter step to the left, and then swept untouched all the way up the right sideline for a 92-yard score. Point after was good. Bel Air got the ball, and the new quarterback that we were talking about, Angel Dominguez, actually orchestrated a 3 first-down drive and threw 2 great passes, aired it out about 40 yards, but the receivers couldn't catch it. So anyway, Bel Air just punted back, and so El Dorado is now starting on their own 17-yard line. So I'll let you know if anything comes up, but from the new SAC with 10:22 in the first quarter, it's El Dorado 7, Bel Air 0.
All right, Joey Panisi, thank you so much for that update. 7-0, El Dorado over Bel Air, a 92-yard kickoff return for a touchdown to open up the game. Wow, the Aztecs are rolling this year. You know who else is rolling? Who needs to start rolling? The East Lake Falcons and the Montwood Rams. We're going to talk about those teams next. You're listening to our Football Friday Night pregame show right here on 600 ESPN El Paso.
Mountainwood went 5-6, made the playoffs, and even beat Eastlake 41-20. They were led by their quarterback Michael Southern, their running back Isaiah Claudio, and a trio of capable wide receivers. But this year, it's much different for the Rams. They lose all of their offensive weapons from last year. Now, their starting quarterback is Damian Briano. So far this year, he's led the Rams to an 0-3 record. He's 37-77 on the year, passing-wise, 496 yards, and 3 touchdowns along with 5 interceptions. There is not much of a running game for the Rams. It's Briano, who is also their team's leading rusher. However, they do have a bit of a weapon out in wideout Adrian Cortinas. He has 14 receptions on the year, 202 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Meanwhile, for the Falcons, they returned starter Luke Lamelli. Last year, Eastlake started 5-1. However, they ended up 5-5. Lamelli is in yet another year starting for the Falcons, and so far, despite the 1-3 record, the Falcons are 1-0 against El Paso competition. All 3 of their losses are from out-of-town competition. They were without their 2 top receivers against Rio Rancho, New Mexico, in their 26-21 loss. It was Junior Trotman and Christian Garcia not seeing the field. We'll get an update later on. I'll update you guys on whether they will be playing tonight or not. It'll be a good game. Both teams are tied 3-3 all-time in this series, so a good, fun District 1-6A opener here at the Student Activities Complex. Once again, we're about 45 minutes away from kickoff between Eastlake and Mountwood. Thanks, guys.
All right, Zay Galindo from SAC 1. Montwood hosting Eastlake, 7:30 p.m. kickoff, as Zay just said. Once again, something's got to give at 6A district opens up. And maybe one of the most surprising teams in 1-6A, the Socorro Bulldogs. They snapped a 27 or 29? I can't even remember right now. I think it was 27-game losing streak.
29. Yeah, the last 7, 2 years in a row, and then the first 2 of this season.
And so they have won 2 in a row. The Socorro Bulldogs have really hit their stride a little bit. They're 2-2 on the season and have played some good football. They defeated Cathedral last week 37-19. Meanwhile, Eastwood lost a heartbreaker by 1 point to El Dorado, 55-54 at home. So something's got to give. Let's go out to Angel Torres with this preview as Eastwood hosts Socorro. Angel, take it away.
Welcome to Trooper Stadium as the 2-2 Eastwood opens up District 1-6A play by hosting head coach Edward Cano and the 2-2 Socorro Bulldogs. Eastwood lost a shootout 55-54 against El Dorado last week, while Socorro beat Cathedral 37-19. For Eastwood and head coach Julio Lopez, the Troopers will not have senior quarterback Joe Cox, who left last week's loss against the Aztecs with a lower leg injury. His return for the season looks unlikely. That means we get junior quarterback Ethan Camacho, who gets his first start today. Last week, he went 12 for 26 with 186 yards and 3 touchdowns, but also tossed one interception in his relief appearance. He won't be alone as running back Jaden Martinez has taken over the primary ball-carrying duties. His 81 carries on the season for 474 yards comes out to 5.9 yards per attempt. His 4 rushing scores on the ground are second most for Eastwood behind running back Nathan Chavira. Through the air, Ethan Camacho will have wideouts Fabian Penalosa and Jude Walker, who ranks first and second in receiving yards in District 1-6A. Socorro, on the other hand, is led by quarterback Trevante Thrasher, whose 586 passing yards rank third in District 1-6A, a spot behind injured Eastwood quarterback Joe Cox. He shares the backfield with the district's leading rusher and scorer in Eder Hernandez. Hernandez has 639 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns on the season. On defense, the Bulldogs have linebacker Roman Alvarado and defensive end Matthew Avila, who ranks 4th and 5th in tackles in the district and sit just shy of 50 apiece. Alvarado is also tied for second with 2 interceptions alongside teammate Ruben Huerta. This is the 10th season for Eastwood head coach Julio Lopez and has never lost against Socorro, going 8-0 in his tenure, including a 63-7 win last season. You have to go back all the way to the 2009 season to find the last time Socorro beat Eastwood, a 20-14 victory. Kickoff is set for 7:30, which is about 45 minutes away in this crucial district matchup between the Eastwood Troopers and the Socorro Bulldogs. Guys?
All right, thank you so much, Angel. Eastwood hosting Socorro, 7:30 p.m. kick. Let's see how this one goes. Is Socorro playing pretty well? I think we kind of know how this one's going to go, but this isn't your mama's Socorro Bulldogs anymore.
Well, you got to look at the teams that they beat. They handled Bel Air pretty easily a couple of weeks ago, 34-7. Everyone has thus far this year, and last week, it was Cathedral. The one commonality we see with the Socorro victories is the big running back. I call him like Gershon Yabusele, the basketball player from France. What do they call him? The dancing bear? That's Adair Hernandez, the big running back. He's a big guy from Socorro, but nimble on his feet, especially for his size. A couple of weeks ago, 186 yards in that victory. Last week, 185 to take care of Cathedral. So when he's able to run, that means good things for a Socorro offense that really has been better starting last year when Ariel Famaligi moved in as the offensive coordinator. Offenses look good. Defense, not so much. It's still back maybe where it was a couple of seasons ago. Eastwood has way too many weapons for these guys, even without their quarterback, Cox. Ethan Camacho plugs in. And that's what makes me laugh even more. Eastwood in the Dorado shootout a week ago, you're on your backup quarterback. You score late with less than a minute left. You can kick an extra point to go into overtime. You decide to go for 2. That's gutsy enough, but with the backup quarterback. I think they like this kid Camacho, and I think he's going to take over and be their quarterback for the next couple of years. Julio Lopez calls this plug and play, but again, shows the mentality of Lopez and what he brings to his teams. Remember, he played for Chuck Valise. He was a Montwood receiver in high school, and I think that's been embedded in him. We go for things. Eye of the tiger. We take stuff. We're not playing it safe. We're not kicking an extra point and going to overtime. Let's win this thing right now. And you know what? They blew it. They lost. They're 2-2. So what? District starts tonight. That means nothing.
Yeah,
if these two Troopers win their next 10 games, you think they're going to care if they lost El Dorado by a failed two-point conversion? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. A big night in 6A, opening up district, also 1-5A. Hey, we'll have our Ignitify local scoreboard next. You're listening to our Football Friday Night pregame show right here on 600 ESPN El Paso.